Hi there, I'm Cindy Linden, and this is the Cook Along podcast. I am going to do something a little crazy today. I've never done this before, and I may regret it partway through, but I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to try to cook an entire meal with you, and here's the caveat to that. I am going to separate it into different podcasts. So in order for you to make the entire meal with me, you're going to have to look for the separate pieces and listen to those individually, because I don't want to overwhelm you with a podcast that's way too long. So here is what the meal is going to consist of. We're going to do an oven-roasted chicken shawarma recipe from the New York Times. We're going to do a naan, that's N-A-A-N, that's a kind of flatbread that I think comes from America's Test Kitchen, although it came out of a magazine and I took a photo of it. Remember the days when you had to sneak out of the doctor's office with the page you torn out of the magazine? You don't have to do that anymore, so I have a photo of it here. And I picked this one in particular because most of the recipes that I have, or even when I went searching online, they all use yeast and they have rising times, and I didn't want to mess with any of that. So I'm going to use this one, which does not have a rising time. It has a sort of short resting time, but it doesn't use yeast. So that's the main dish and the bread. I'm going to make a smashed cucumber salad to go with it. That is just extraordinary, really nice, and has only like four ingredients, and they're super simple. And then, if I have time and still any energy left, I'm also going to make some hummus. Those will all be found on your podcast feed or on the cookalongpodcast.com website. When I have finished them all, you'll find this same introduction at the beginning of all of those recipes. So now we're going to do the hummus part because I think it'll be good to have a sauce. I think it's optional, but I also think it will be tasty, particularly since we're making the naan as well, and it can dip into the hummus. If you have never made a hummus, I want to reassure you that it's incredibly easy, especially if you use canned chickpeas, also known as garbanzo beans. It makes everything very fast, very easy. And the only thing you really need in terms of equipment, well, you need a can opener, you need a way to squeeze some lemon juice, and you need a food processor. You could probably also do this in a blender, as long as it's a way to kind of munge everything up together into a paste, okay? So here's your ingredient list. You want 2 cups of garbanzo beans or chickpeas. If you're using a can, which is what I recommend just because it's so much faster, do not discard the liquid. You're going to need to drain the liquid out in order to get to the beans, but you're also going to use the whole can. This is 15.5 ounces. It's not quite 2 cups, and we could adjust accordingly. I think it's not going to make that much difference in the long run. You need some tahini, although this is optional. Tahini it's like peanut butter, but it's made with sesame seeds, so it's a sesame paste. You can leave it out. I think it adds a really important flavor. Unless you're allergic to sesame seeds, I would really suggest that you find yourself some tahini to put in. And if you have some and it's been sitting around in your refrigerator or your cabinet for a while, keep in mind it's going to need to be stirred because just like with natural peanut butter, the oil all comes to the top. So that would be, I guess, a do-ahead. You want some extra virgin olive oil, about 1/4 cup, plus you're going to want more to put on the top. And since you're going to taste it pretty prominently, if you have more than one kind of olive oil and one of them is better, I would go with the good one for this. You want 2 cloves of garlic. You're going to want some salt and some freshly ground black pepper, so get your grinder ready. And then you could use a tablespoon of either ground cumin or paprika. Paprika will be hotter. You could also use, obviously, a combination of those. You can also use it to taste. If you don't want that strong of a flavor in your hummus, that's fine. And then 1 lemon, which we're going to have to juice. You may need a little more than that. We'll see, because that's to thin it out. And then if you want, you can garnish the top with some fresh parsley leaves. I'm not going to do that today because The chicken shawarma I'm making to go with this has parsley flakes that need to get draped, draped? No, sprinkled over the top, and I don't have that much parsley, so I'm going to leave it off the garnish of the hummus, and I'm going to keep it for the chicken shawarma. This we're going to just do all of a piece because it's so darn quick and easy. Everything that I just mentioned to you goes into the bowl of the food processor. So I'm opening a can of garbanzo beans, and I'm going to try to drain the liquid off into a small bowl. There we go. So using the lid of the can, I'm just going to drain off that juice, which is strange stuff. I have not done this, but I know many of you may have already done this, but apparently you can whip this into like a meringue. If you don't like dairy or can't have dairy, this will make yourself a whipped topping. It's a weird thing to think about, and someday I will try it. I'm pushing the lid against the beans, upside down, and the juice is going into the bowl. The lid now comes off carefully, and the beans, got to put a blade in the food processor first. That's sometimes helpful. All right, blade goes in. Now the beans can go in. Just dump the whole can in, because it should actually be a little bit more than that. Okay, the next thing is the tahini, and because I'm a little scant on the beans, I think I'm going to go a little scant on this half cup of tahini as well. That's quite a lot. By the way, this recipe comes from Mark Bittman. The Best Recipes in the World is what it's called. And I have used all my half cup measuring cups today. So I am using my quarter cup measuring cup. That's the way it goes when you don't stop to wash dishes in between. Okay, there's my first quarter cup. And it goes right in right now. So my second quarter cup. There we go. Just a hair scant. And just like runny peanut butter, it's managed to get pretty much everywhere. On my fingers, the counter, because it's way thinner than peanut butter. Way thinner. Down the side of the jar. Oh, and I really ought to stop and wipe off the counter at this point. Okay, I have to. It's just the right thing to do. I'll be right back. All right, now your quarter of a cup of olive oil. And I have to reuse the quarter of a cup that I used for the tahini, because again, I haven't washed dishes. That goes in there as well. And then 2 cloves of garlic. And this is kind of fun, because while you do have to peel it, you don't have to do anything else. They just go in whole. And I have, stupid garlic. I have stupid little tiny garlics. If you're working on this whole dinner menu today with me, you will have already heard me whine about these little tiny garlics, because I had problems with them when I was doing the marinade for the chicken shawarma. So I'm supposed to have 2 cloves. So what I have here is a whole bunch of teeny little ridiculous things. I'm going to do, let's say that's 1 clove. Let's say that's probably enough. Okay. And again here, what we do is we chop off the flat end that's dry and hard on all of them, or your 2 if you happen to get reasonable sized garlic. And then either the skin will peel off just like that, or you can smash it with the flat of the knife to make the skin crack, and then it will come off really easily. Okay. And then those whole cloves can go right into the food processor bowl. These little ones, that wasn't even 1 little one. That was 2 little ones. Oh my gosh. Okay, garlic is going to permeate a lot of this anyway, and it will be pretty garlicky. So if I'm a little shy, I'm just not going to sweat it. Okay, those go in. Now a little, it says salt and pepper to taste. I think what we're going to do is leave that out for a moment. And let's go to the tablespoon of ground cumin or paprika. I think I'm going to use the cumin today. I'm not really interested in any heat. And a little scant tablespoon of that, because again, I don't have quite enough beans. That looks good. And then the juice of a lemon. Again, the juice of a lemon is highly dependent on the size of your lemons. And lemons seem to be getting bigger than they used to be. So I think it's a little confusing. I think I'm going to use this half a lemon. Mark does say that once he tastes it, he often finds he wants more lemon juice. So I have the half of a really large lemon that I'm juicing right into the bowl of the food processor. And we'll just mix some things up and taste and see what we think it needs more of. We're going to put the lid on this. And we're just going to puree it. And we're going to need to add some of that chickpea water. It's funny that I'm calling it chickpeas today because I almost never do that. I think of them as garbanzo beans. So it's starting to make sort of a lumpy paste. I have it on low and I'm going to speed it up a little bit. And I'm going to take the presser thing out and add a little of the garbanzo bean liquid to thin it out. You should be able to spoon it. It's going to be thinner than peanut butter. A little more juice. And I'm going to turn it up a little bit. And you're just going to puree it until it's really smooth. And anytime it seems too thick, too lumpy, you can add some more, either the garbanzo juice or a little water. And we want a really smooth paste. And mine is nowhere near smooth, but I'm going to check the consistency and see if it needs more liquid. Oh yeah, it's way too stiff. And it's going to need salt. Yep, it's really going to need salt. Okay, so turning this back on and adding a little more liquid. And then I'm going to get some salt. And because I just tasted it to see about the consistency, I know it needs, what do I have in my hand here? I just dumped some in my hand and it's probably, might be half a teaspoon. And I'm putting that in through the chute here. And I'm also going to grind some fresh black pepper into there. You could always stop your thingy to do this, but I am going to just do it. And this is probably not the smartest thing I ever did because I have no idea how much is going in there. I should have ground it into the little container here so I see how much was in there. Alright, it's still not smooth. I'm going to turn it up again. And now I'm going to do another little taste test. Let's see what I got. It's not smooth yet. Oh, it's way not smooth yet. Well, maybe it just needs salt. It seems a little bland to me, which it certainly shouldn't with all the things we just put in. You know what? I'm going to sprinkle just a tiny touch of paprika in there. Do I want smoked paprika? No, I don't think so. Some regular paprika. I'm not going to do a lot, but a teeny bit. Teeny bit. That was maybe eighth of a teaspoon, I don't know. It's in there now. I don't know how much it is. Now we're going to smooth it out some more. You can see that really, although it's easy, it's maybe too easy in that you're just doing all of it by eyeball and by taste. I think that Mark's right. I think it could use a little more lemon. I'm going to taste test it yet again. Still not smooth enough. Oh yeah. Although it's getting there. I think more salt. And that's probably another half teaspoon, actually. More pepper. This time I have the machine stopped so I can see what I'm doing. And I also just dropped the bottom of my pepper container into the hummus. Dang it. Yes. Okay. I just got a taste of some that it's more lemony and it's more salty. So I've already added more salt. I think I need to add a hair more lemon. Let's see. I'm going to cut this lemon so I have just kind of the tip of it. And I'll put it in my squeezy thing here. I have this really cool thing. It's brand new to me. It's a juicer. You'd think there'd be a name on here somewhere. It's flat and it opens out and you squeeze it together with your hands like if you were pushing against resistance. Okay, I'm going to date myself. But if you remember when you were in school and there was a thing about you must improve your bust. So that kind of squeezy motion, that's how this thing works. And I will see if I can find the name for this thing because there it is. It's from Dream Farm. That's all I can tell you. I know they make one sized for limes, one for lemons, and one for oranges. I got the orange one because it's the biggest, and I can do limes and lemons in there as well as fairly large oranges. I really like it a lot. It's so easy to use compared to other ways to extract juice. So I am making a product recommendation without getting paid for it. So you know I really mean it. Now I'm going to grind this up some more. Here we go. Now another taste test. It's not completely smooth, but I think it's going to be smooth enough. The lemon juice helped. The salt helped. I think a little more pepper. It seems like it's missing something. It seems crazy because I got everything in there. But you know, until you taste it, you don't really know. All right. Well, I don't want any more liquid in it. It'll be too thin. And in fact, it's just thin enough now that I'm going to have to refrigerate it to get it to turn into any kind of usable spread or paste. It's a pretty good dip right now. And I'm taking a picture so you can see where I taste tested. And it'll give you an idea of what the consistency is like here. I think actually what it could use is a tiny bit more salt, but I don't want to overdo it. I will put just a hair more in and then mix it up one more time, and then it's going in the fridge. And we're going to call it good till dinner time. So this is maybe another 1/8 of a teaspoon. Usually when you're missing something in flavor, it's salt. So I'm going on that philosophy. Plus, if it isn't salt, adding salt might fix whatever your missing flavor is anyway. Okay, there we go. It is now going into a bowl where it shall stay until time to serve it with the naan, the shawarma chicken, and the cucumber and dill salad. Did I tell you about that? I don't remember if I did. Cucumber salad with dill and feta and lemon, and it's just wonderful. But one thing at a time. This is your hummus recipe, so the last step is to make this look pretty. Oh yeah, that's going to do. So when you get it in the bowl, make a little swirly pattern with a spoon or a spatula or something. Get your paprika out and just sprinkle the tiniest bit. And I don't have a sifter on the top of mine, so I'm dumping some into my palm. And I'm just going to rub my palms together so that it falls attractively. Sort of. Not very well spread out. Not at all well spread out. On top of the hummus. And then your olive oil. And into that sort of swirl you made, you want to drizzle a stream of olive oil around the top. And that is your hummus. Very beautiful. Quite wonderful. And yummy to eat. Great with veggies. Great with pita bread, in sandwiches, on naan, which we're going to make next. So if you're using the whole dinner, you'll have to go find that separately, as well as the chicken. And for now, I'm going to say happy eating, have a good dinner, and happy cooking.